Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. Imagine just one missile, one miscalculation, and an entire continent wakes up under a radioactive sky. No borders, no escape, no second chance. What if the next world crisis is not a nuclear bomb but a power plant under fire? So, welcome to the world where civilian nuclear reactors, once symbols of clean energy and peace, are becoming battlefields targets. Ji haan. So, a wonderful article is written by the scholar Syed Akbaruddin, former diplomat, and he has written wonderful editorial today in Indian Express, that is Playing with Fire. And the title here is Israel versus Iran, why attacking nuclear plants could trigger a global disaster. Ji haan, this editorial. So from Israel's strike on Iran to the military standoff at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia plant, the world is witnessing a terrifying new trend. And what is that trend? Nuclear infrastructure is no longer safe. And this is not about just geopolitics. It is about your energy, your climate future, your survival. And India, yes, India has a lot more at stake than you might think. So in this video, we are going to decode that why nuclear power is rising again and why it is under threat. How global laws are failing to protect us. The India-Pakistan nuclear agreement, that is a rare success story, and why every country from Iran to Ukraine to India must now choose responsibility or ruin. So stay with me till the end, because what you are about to understand could change the way you look at the energy, war, and the very future of peace. So, Syed Akbaruddin, he has written a wonderful editorial today in Indian Express paper. So what is happening? First, we need to understand. So let's try to understand that what is happening, what is the context of the news here. So in today's world, we need clean, stable energy more than ever, because nuclear power is making a comeback, not as a Cold War weapon, but as a clean and steady energy source. But some countries now they are attacking the nuclear power plants, which turning them into the military targets, and that is very dangerous. There are various examples of recent attacks. So I can give you numerous examples. Like recently, Israel has struck Iranian nuclear sites recently. Then Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant is in the war zone facing the military activity. Let me show you the map here. As you can see here, so these are some nuclear sites of Iran. So now as you can see here, these are some important sites of Iran. And apart from this, so Iran has struck Iranian nuclear sites recently, and then Ukrainian sites. So as you can see here, Zaporizhzhia, this is one of the important nuclear plant. This is the site of important nuclear plant which is in a war zone and it is facing the military activity. Okay. Now, these are not, let me tell you, these sites are not isolated incidents. Similar past examples are also there. Now, what are those past examples? So, let me tell you that in 1981, Israel bombed Iraq's Oz-Iraq reactor, which is called as Operation Opera. Operation Opera kiya tha Israel ne. Now, so Israel bombed Iraq's Oz-Iraq reactor. Apart from this, as you can see here, the location of Oz-Iraq in Iraq region. Another important thing here is another incident that happened in 2007. Now, what was that event? Israel struck Syria's Deir ez-Zor nuclear site. As you can see here, target before and target after. So, this is the site in Syria, Deir ez-Zor site. So this was attacked by again Israel in 2007 in Syria. Now, such strikes are becoming more common nowadays in the war or in a conflict. So a red line that the nuclear sites are off limits and is being crossed repeatedly here. Now, why is this dangerous? Now, why is this dangerous? So let me tell you, one mistake can cause radiation leaks affecting thousands of people as well as entire regions. है ना? Then, and let me tell you, radiations does not follow borders. It spreads everywhere. Now, do we have any international law regarding this? So let's talk about article number 56 of 1977 additional protocol. As you can see here, international law. So article 56 of 1977 additional protocol 1 to Geneva Convention. Now, अब ये लॉ क्या कहता है? This law says that no attacks on places like nuclear plants that can harm civilians. And apart from this, the international IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has condemned the attacks on nuclear facilities in resolutions. Now, apart from this, so this was the meeting at that time. Apart from this, what are the views? Israel versus Iran. So let's try to understand the views. Now, what is the view of Israel? Now, what Israel is saying? So let me tell you, Israel says that Iran is building missiles and enriching the uranium which is close to the weapon level. Iran has a history of hiding nuclear activities mentioned by Israel. So Israel claims that it is acting in a preventive self-defense. That Israel is acting in a preventive self-defense. Now, based on that, what are the views of Iran? अब ईरान का क्या कहना है यहां पर? Iran says its nuclear program is peaceful because it is the member of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, that is NPT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and its nuclear sites are monitored by International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. So its nuclear sites are monitored by IAEA. Now, the big question here, if this is monitored, if even monitored sites can be attacked, can countries then trust international safeguards anymore? So why it matters globally? My question here is, then why it matters globally? This is not just about Israel or Iran. It is about protecting a global rule here, because nuclear plants should never be the targets, and nuclear power is vital today. Why? Because nuclear power is why it is vital, because it is used by 30 plus countries. It helps in fighting climate change and also providing steady electricity. Even the World Bank may now support the nuclear projects in developing countries. Now, why it is important for India? So why India must care? Why India must care? So let me tell you, India का aim क्या है? As you can see here, India wants to increase its nuclear capacity from 8 GW to 100 GW. As you can see here, this is the plan of India by 2047. Now, the most important thing here is why nuclear energy is crucial. Why nuclear energy is crucial? Now, nuclear energy is crucial for net zero goals, then rising electricity demands, then third, industrial growth, then recent, that is why industrial growth, for industrial growth also this is very important. Now that is why in recent Indian budget, let me tell you. So what is there in recent Indian budget? They have a plan to amend Atomic Energy Act of 1962. Ji haan, they have a plan to amend Atomic Energy Act of 1962 as well as Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act of 2010. Okay. Why government is planning to amend these act? So that they can attract private investments. Now, if nuclear sites start getting attacked, then India's whole energy plan is at risk. Clear? Now, what is India's responsible example? So there are various examples. So let me tell you that since 1991, India and Pakistan, they follow an agreement which was signed in 1988 between both the countries, India and Pakistan. And that agreement says that do not attack each other's nuclear facilities. That agreement, as you can see here, 1991, India and Pakistan follow an agreement which was signed in 88. So first thing, do not attack each other's nuclear facilities. And second, exchange lists of nuclear sites every New Year day. This was mentioned in the agreement that we need to exchange the list of nuclear sites every New Year's day. So even enemies can respect this red line, and India still followed this. Okay. So even enemies, they are respecting this red line. Okay. And India still follows this, which showing the nuclear responsibility. Now, my question here is, what needs to be done then? You know, what needs to be done? So let me tell you that if you see these things, these scenarios, these incidents, current laws are not enough and these are poorly enforced. So we need a new international treaty that ban all attacks on civilian nuclear plants. No exception should be there. Then it can help. We need new treaty or new international treaty, you can say, that can help in preventing the disasters. Third, it can keep global energy progress on track, and then it also can protect the lives as well as global trust in nuclear safety. So overall, we can say here that in today's chaotic world, nuclear power can bring stability as well as clean energy. But if we let nuclear plants become target, then every war could become a global disaster. So it is the time that world should agree that nuclear infrastructure is not a target. Again, I am telling you, nuclear infrastructure is not a target. So this is given in this editorial. A wonderful editorial is written by Syed Akbaruddin. Now, why this editorial is important for your UPSC examination and how it deals with your GS subject? So let's try to understand. First, it is very important from the perspective of GS paper 2, that is international relations. How? The most important topic, this editorial is related to India's nuclear diplomacy, because this editorial or article shows how India balances nuclear responsibility with strategic interests, like India-Pakistan nuclear restraint agreement since 1991. Then nuclear non-proliferation and international law. In this editorial discusses the key frameworks like NPT, non-proliferation treaty, and second, IAES safeguards are there, that means International Atomic Energy Agency. Then third, Geneva Convention of 1977 Protocol 1 and its Article 56. Now, so international conventions and India's role is also one of the important topic for your examination. Like UPSC has asked once, McBride Commission in 2016. So these conventions are important. So this makes a case for India's leadership pushing for new international treaty banning attacks on nuclear sites. Then UPSC also asked about India's stance on non-proliferation, nuclear stability, then international law. So this article is overall important. Then this is also important with respect to GS paper 3. Why? With respect to security and energy. First, energy security. Now, first thing in energy security, why it is important? India's ambitious target of 100 GW nuclear energy by 2047. Second, nuclear can be a tool for clean, reliable base load power as well as climate change. Then you can mention the reforms, like amendment in the Atomic Energy Act of 1962 and civil liability, this act of 2010. Then there are various threats to energy infrastructure like risk of nuclear sabotage becoming normalized and strategic risk to India's development goals. Clear? So this is related to your internal security. Then UPSC can also ask questions in essay paper, like various themes from this article can be taken in UPSC. Like for example, technology and ethics in warfare. Then global commons and collective responsibility. These kind of quotations can be asked by UPSC in mains essay paper. Then energy security in uncertain world. Then science without safeguard is double-edged sword. So these kind of quotations can be asked by UPSC in mains examination. So this editorial is one of the important material for your essay paper as well. Then GS paper 4 is also related to this editorial, how ethical dilemma of targeting civilian infrastructure in war. Then moral leadership and responsible state behavior. So India's conduct versus Iran and Israel conflict, here you can give in your ethics paper like case studies they can ask. Then upholding international norms in the face of geopolitical tensions. So this editorial is also important for the case studies. Okay, this is important for the case studies. Now, apart from this, does this have any prelims relevance? So yes, it has prelims relevance, like important organization IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, NPT, Geneva Conventions. These can be asked in prelims. Okay, statement based question. Now these articles, now UPSC can also ask key articles like Article 56 of Additional Protocol 1, 1977 Geneva Convention. So just go through this in the editorial itself. Then India-Pakistan 1988 agreement on nuclear installation, where they need to exchange the name of the list of nuclear sites. Then next, nuclear policy updates in India, amendments. So amendments which are planned in 2024 to 25 budget, that is also very important. So based on that, UPSC can also ask the MCQs. Apart from this, see, let me tell you that this nuclear target, or you can say nuclear diplomacy, this is the one of the ideal theme for UPSC answers as well as interviews also. Like in interview, they can ask fragility, this fragility of international norms in a multipolar world. Then civilian nuclear safety as a global public good, they can ask. Then climate action versus geopolitical risk. Then India's balanced nuclear strategy, assertive but responsible. You can use these kind of things. So overall, this editorial helps UPSC aspirant. First, they can understand the real world application of international law. Second, they can analyze India's nuclear strategy as well as energy vision. Then think critically about the global governance, climate policy as well as conflict ethics. Okay, so this single editorial, which is written by Syed Akbaruddin, has multiple dimensions. So this is the classic UPSC gold, this editorial, for your mains answer writing as well as for prelims. So overall, if we talk about this editorial, so radiation does not care who fired the first shot. Once it is released, then it becomes everyone's tragedy. And the attacks on nuclear sites in Iran, or you can say Ukraine, these are not isolated incidents. They are a warning shot to this world. And if we continue to let our nuclear power plants become war targets, then every future conflicts hold the potential to trigger a global crisis, one that even diplomacy may not contain this. Okay, but here is the good news. Now, what is the good news? Now, there's still time to draw a new red line, a global treaty, a firm international consensus that says loud and clear that nuclear infrastructure is not a target. And India, with its peaceful nuclear track record, rising clean energy ambitions, and also regional credibility, India has the huge responsibility to lead this charge. So tell me in the comment section, should the world unite to protect the nuclear power? Should India push for a global ban on attacks on civilian reactors? So if this video made you think, then share it. And if it made you care, then spread it. Because some ideas like radiation must travel far, but unlike radiation, they must bring light, not disaster. So this is not just a topic, it is our shared future. Thank you so much.